Hi everyone, it's Sue Plumb here to share another scrapbook process video with you. Today's layout that I am sharing was created for the Cocoa Vanilla Studio design team, and today I am going to be working with a sketch. So there is the sketch that I'm going to be working with. Now this is a page maps sketch, and this one was from the May 2022 release that Page Maps had. Now you can see that it's a multi-photo sketch, and I took the opportunity to print out some little selfies that I took of my daughter and I. These were taken one night when we were going out for dinner for my birthday, so it was just before we left. We just shot off a few quick ones on my phone, and I thought what better opportunity than to print them and put them all on a layout together. So I am working with the Storyteller collection for this layout. This was a beautiful collection that was released by Cocoa Vanilla in 2022, and I am still very much enjoying working with this collection. So I'm going to tell you what I'm getting up to and how I'm going to interpret this sketch. So you can see in the sketch there that it obviously uses a patterned paper background. So I decided to stay fairly true to the sketch and work with a patterned paper background. I chose that sort of green colour there that's got the light coloured circles on it. I just wanted a subtle print for the background of this page. And in the sketch, it looks like that on top of the patterned paper background, they've actually interpreted that as another piece of patterned paper, a smaller piece. I decided to interpret that as paint. So I used a Montmartre Dimensions paint, that's my titanium white that I used, and I just applied it to that sort of central area using my brayer. Now this is one of my favourite ways to apply paint to the page because I love the look and the effect that it gives. It's very subtle, it's very uneven. I'm not looking for perfect coverage using a brayer. If I was looking for better coverage, I would certainly use a thicker application and use a spatula or a brush or whatever. But I like that patchy, light application. It's just enough to tone down the pattern in the background while, because it is patchy, it still allows that pattern to shine through in places. So that was my interpretation of that portion of the sketch. Now you can see that I actually had this scrap of that rainbow stripe paper left over from a previous project. I decided to use it on this one. Now I tore off the red colour at the end of it. I also tore off the blue at the other end of it because I just wanted to work with those mid-tones in the middle there. And I also needed that piece of paper to be smaller anyway, just to fit over that painted area on the page. Now, those of you who know me will be quite surprised how true I stayed to this sketch. And the reason I have chosen to work with a sketch for this project is life's been busy lately. Sometimes, you know, we all lack a bit of inspiration, and I find one of the quickest and easiest ways to get inspired is just to pull out a sketch and allow the sketch to guide you. Now, you'll know that often when I do use sketches, I tend to go rogue and stray away from them. But as I said, life has been busy lately and I stuck fairly true to this sketch, which was good. It also allowed me to use up some of my scraps as well. And, you know, I love doing that as well. So you can see I've got that rainbow striped piece down on the page. You can see that I've opted for torn edges, which is another one of the things that I often like to do. I've used that little offcut, which is that little peach coloured stripe, and I've run that vertically. I've also used part of that heart sort of border strip that is from the large cut apart sheet of paper, and I've just run those hearts vertically down the page as well, just to imitate where those strips were in the sketch. Now, that card that I'm using there that says Best Ever is actually one of the pocket cards from this collection. I could have opted to use a card that had a large space for journaling, but I did want to use something that was going to be my title as well. And there wasn't an awful lot of journaling to go with these photos, so I decided to put my journaling elsewhere on the page and just use a large title card. So in keeping with the sketch as well, I actually dusted off, and I really literally did have to dust the dust off this punch. You can see that notebook punch that I had used along the top edge of that card just to give it that notebook paper look. And I've just bent up some of those little tabs of paper there just to give it a bit more texture and interest on the page. Now, I'm fiddling around here with some coloured doilies. I had a blue one, I had a yellow one, and I had a green one, and I was just trying to decide which one of the three that I wanted to use in behind my photos. It's a smaller size doily than I traditionally use. It's probably, it might be 2.5 inches or so, that one. So I ended up going with that lighter blue because it was a better contrast against the green and the yellow behind it where it sat. And I was just arranging my photos across the page and trying to figure out the best configuration for them. Now you can see that in behind that central photo on the right hand side, on top of the doily, I've also added some frayed gauze. This is another one of my signature things that I tend to do on just about every page. I just love adding that bit of texture to the page and making it a bit more interesting. It just tends to soften what's behind it as well. Okay, so that is all of the main components of my page in place. You can see I've got photos, title, I've got all the large pieces of paper in the background there. The paint is dry. You will find that if you do apply paint with a brayer and you're doing it quite thinly, as I have done, that it will dry almost instantaneously. I'm tripping over my words today. So I'm now going in to embellish this page. I'm working with the Storyteller floral ephemera pack there, just picking out some different flowers that I think will coordinate well with the page. You can see in the original sketch there up in the corner that they actually had stars on this sketch. You don't ever have to use what is shown in the sketch. You can interpret these any way you wish. You can switch things around as well, but if you are lacking in inspiration or time, you can stick fairly true to the sketch, and if you do follow the sketch, you will end up with a fabulous page. So here I am still literally picking through this floral ephemera pack, trying to work out how I'm going to create these clusters. As I said, I took each of those stars just to sort of represent where the embellishment clusters were going to go, and I decided to make floral clusters there instead. Now, what else do I have to tell you? Well, I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone has been busy creating. As I said, life has been very busy for me, and finding time to actually scrap these days is becoming more and more of a challenge. And finding balance in life, just everyday life between work and family, is also a challenge. So I am sorry that my videos are not as regular as they once were. I do endeavour to get as many up as I can. And if I have to, I will reach for a sketch more often so I can get some content up. So what I'm going to do with this sketch, as I said, it's from the Page Maps May 2022 release. What I'll do, if you are interested in printing off or downloading a copy of that sketch, is I will put a link to Page Maps and this release down below in the comments of my video, so you can go down and download it for yourself if you'd like to follow along with this sketch. And I'll actually pop the sketch up again at the end alongside my page so we can do a bit of a comparison and see how well I followed it. Okay, so I've just stuck my photos down using my favourite liquid adhesive, strong liquid adhesive, which is a Helmer 450. In my little fine line bottle there, I use Scotch tacky glue. That's a quick drying one. I love my Scotch tacky glue in my fine line bottle. That bottle has actually been on the go for a number of years now and still going strong. So embellishment clusters, there I go again, going down in place now. You can see that I am layering the flowers just to give them a bit of depth. I'm using a roll of foam adhesive tape there, and just adding different heights of the flowers just gives your page that extra bit of depth and dimension, and it makes it more interesting for people who are looking at it. Now, there's not a huge lot to say about this page today because it is fairly simple, as I said, because I stuck fairly true to the sketch. What I'm doing now is I'm pulling off some of those small phrase stickers from the accessory sticker sheet, because you will know that I like to balance off visual elements of my page with text elements, so that when people do go through my albums and have a look at these, there is equal parts of things for them to look at, but also to read. Now, as I said, I was going to add my journaling in a different spot on this page as opposed to where they showed the journaling on the sketch. And I ended up just handwriting my journaling with a small felt tip pen, and you'll see where that ends up in the photos at the end. Sorry for me leaning in front of the camera. This was not done at my normal art desk. I actually did this at my sister's house at her desk. So the camera is a slightly different setup there, and you will see a little bit more of me than I intended appearing on the screen. Okay, I'm surely getting close to finishing this page by now. You can see I've just added that little heart embellishment alongside the photos. Again, I'm bending up the edges of that heart from the page. I do like to bend up the edges of my embellishments like this just to give the page a bit of extra depth. I'm tucking that one in under the edge of my photo. Don't feel that when you're adding things to a page that you necessarily have to have the entire embellishment shown. And if you're a real stinge with your embellishments, cut them in half and just stick on the half that's going to be seen and save your half for another project. So finding that little, I do love these sweet little banners that Zoe does. They do give your page a bit of a celebratory feel. And I am just fiddling around trying to figure out the best placement for it there. You can see that I've tucked it in along those photos. Back to the sticker sheet again for a third phrase. And now I'm just pulling out the little epoxy wood buttons. I've decided to stick one in the center of that flower there and just use it as the flower center. And now I've got some hearts from that little puffy sticker sheet. I think these would have to be one of my favorite things ever. These little heart-shaped puffy stickers. There's also a few little dots on there as well, and I'm using those just like you would use enamel dots, which I do have a vast collection of as well, just quietly. So finishing off with a bit of stamping. Of course, I've got to stamp the date on there for posterity, just so that we can remember when it was. And as I said, I do go and add some handwritten journaling to it. I think I end up adding that off camera. I've also got a roller stamp there, and I'm just stamping some phrases on there, and then I think I am pretty much right to go. So there you go. You can see the side-by-side comparison between my layout and the sketch, and hot damn, I think I did a pretty good job sticking close to the sketch. What do you guys think? Oh, there you go. Handwritten journaling. You can see me do it right there and then. Okay, thank you so much for stopping by today to watch this video. I hope that I will inspire you to pull out a sketch if you're short on ideas or short on time, or if you've got the Storyteller collection, to pull out your collection and create something with it as well. I can see that I'm going to finish off here with a few ink splatters, another thing that I do like to do because you know that I never like my pages to be too clean or too neat. So that's Sue style right there. Mess it up a bit right at the end. If you have any questions about anything from this video, by all means, pop them in the comments below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye.